Hi there, my name's Mary, and I'm coming to you from the children's room at the Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine. And today we're going to continue reading Rules by Cynthia Lord. The book was published in 2006 by Scholastic Press. If you can only choose one, pick carefully. On Wednesday morning, the minivan is gone from the driveway next door, so I busy myself collecting words and phrases for Jason in the blank spaces of my sketchbook. Words from commercials, conversations, and books run between my doodles and across the backs of my drawings. The driveway remains empty until after dark. An hour before OT on Thursday, I lay my sketchbook open on my desk and flip the pages, hunting for the right words and phrases to put on Jason's cards. Why not? He already has why, but why not is pushier, like why with a fist on its hip. Out my window, I see the minivan still parked next door. Why not? Because Mom's calling clients and Dad's at work, so David's my responsibility. That's why. Just for an hour, Mom says, until we have to leave for OT. I've put on a Thomas the Tank Engine, so he shouldn't be any trouble. I pull forward 2 blank cards and scrawl. Yeah, right. Whatever. I know she needs me to babysit sometimes, but I hate when she tells me he shouldn't be any trouble. Trouble comes quick with David, and should doesn't have anything to do with it. He should remember to flush the toilet too, but that doesn't mean it happens. When Mom had gone, I took my long mirror off my door and propped it at an angle against one corner of the living room, so I could work at my desk and still see David reflected in the mirror. Every few words I make, I glance out my bedroom doorway to the mirror. David stands at the TV, the remote in his hand. He loves rewinding the trains backwards up the tracks and speeding them ahead to almost crashing over and over. I turn another sketchbook page and choose among the words written along the edge. Sure, you bet. Excellent. Perfect. Frustrating. Pretty. Dazzling. To jazz up and stretch the words Jason has in bigger directions. And joke, so he can be sarcastic if he wants. I peek toward the mirror. The TV train steams ahead, billowing smoke toward the shed. Watch out, David repeats, a perfect imitation of the narrator's voice. But at the last second possible before the smash, David hits pause. Jumping in front of the frozen TV picture, he waves the remote in circles like it's a magic wand. Watch out! On the next page is my half-finished portrait of Jason. I pick up a pencil and add the details I couldn't add in the waiting room. Eyelashes, thick eyebrows, and the outline of his thin lips. Part of me wishes I could tear this picture out of my sketchbook and crumble it into a tight ball so I don't hear his mother's scolding in my head when I see it. But the rest of me is bothered that it's incomplete, too much like a secret. Are you busy? A girl's voice asks. I drop my pencil and flash a look from my unmade bed to the folded clothes piled on my bureau. Cinnamon and Nutmeg crane their necks to wheek at Mom and the girl from next door standing in my doorway. I saw Christy coming up the walk, Mom says, smiling. Catherine, I have one more call to make. Could you keep an eye on David for a few more minutes? Then I'll take over, I promise. Before I can get out no, I see Mom's legs in the mirror, hurrying back toward her office. David pushes rewind, and Thomas speeds backward again. Come in. I offer my chair, but Christy sits on the edge of my desk, crossing her feet at the ankles. Are you busy? She asks. No. Seeing her up close, I know Christy will be popular, not only for her straight brown hair parted off center, shining down to her elbows, or because she looks just right, even wearing frayed jean shorts and a t-shirt. Christy radiates cool, and I know it as sure as I know David will stop that speeding train at the last second. Part of me feels sorry because she doesn't look like a flashlights and Morse code kid, but the other part of me is excited. I'm glad Mrs. Bowman sold you her house, I say. Well, I guess technically the realtor sold it, but I'm glad your family bought it because I've always thought it would be great if a kid lived next door. Mrs. Bowman was nice, but she was really, really old. I clamped my teeth together to keep anything else dumb from escaping my mouth. Christy drags a strand of her hair between her fingers. I'm glad, too. I was scared I'd have to start school next year without knowing anyone. My lips spread to a smile, imagining Melissa's surprise as I introduced Christy into our group. This is my friend Christy, I say. We hung out together all summer. I glance out of my doorway to the living room. Where's David? Ryan said there's a bus stop at the end of the street. I licked my bottom lip to keep from grimacing. At the corner. That's great. Christy continues to twist her strand of hair. I used to walk 3 blocks to catch the bus, even when it was freezing or raining. Mom'd say, take the umbrella, as though anyone carries an umbrella. David insists on bringing his bright red umbrella to school, even when it's only cloudy. And my mom's like that, too. Leaving out isn't the same as lying. She always says, well, at least wear your hood, I continue, like I'd want hood hair. Christy smiles, letting the twisted strand fall back to her arm. Ryan said he lets kids wait in his house when it's raining, since he can see the bus come from there. But only if you're invited. I peek out the doorway into the empty living room. Part of me would like to tell Christy the truth, but I don't want our conversation to become about David. At the bus stop, I always tell him, you have your umbrella, grabbing the back of his jacket to keep him from following Ryan's friends up the steps. Going inside is for kids without umbrellas. I would be honest, but David doesn't understand invited and not invited. He thinks everything is for everyone. Ryan's nice, Christy says. Don't you think so? Nice as a cockroach. Want some sherbet? I asked. When you want to get out of answering something, distract the questioner with another question. What kind? Christy asks. Raspberry. David rushes through my doorway, his eyes wide with panic, an audio cassette in his hand. Fix it! The tape has pulled out of the cassette, hanging in a long, delicate loop. At first, I'm relieved that's all that's wrong until my guinea pigs start to squeal. With the cassette over one ear and his hand shielding the other, David yells, Quiet, pigs! Christy shoots a worried glance from David to the guinea pigs to me. I pry the cassette from David's fingers, knowing it'll be faster to deal with the tape than the tears filling his eyes. Don't worry, this will only take a minute. I spin the cassette around and around on my finger, wishing I had 2 more hands, one to give the guinea pigs hay to quiet them, another to cover David's mouth as he shrieks. I spin the cassette so fast my finger keeps slipping out of the tiny hole. When the tape lies flat and light, I slide Frog and Toad together into my cassette player and push play. Arnold Lobel's deep voice joins the guinea pig squeals, and David's face lights up like Christmas morning, Halloween night, and his birthday, all rolled into one big grin. You fixed it. Go find Mom, I say, pressing the cassette into his hand, and tell her I'm done babysitting. Before I close the door, I peek into the living room to be sure David's heading toward Mom's office. He disappears down the hallway, swinging his arms. That must be hard, Christy says. Even regular little brothers are a pain. Regular snarls in my stomach. I grab my sticky notes and write, Dad, buy a new tape player, and stick it on the back of my door to remember to tell him again. To quiet my guinea pigs, I pull strings of Timothy hay from the little bale I keep under the cage. Nutmeg yips as Cinnamon steals her hay. They're so cute. Can I hold them? Sure. I toss her a towel. Better put that on your lap in case they pee. I slide one hand under Nutmeg's chest and cup her back legs with my other. Cinnamon weeps until I set her next to Nutmeg on Christy's lap, and the squealing turns to happy pig cooing. Nutmeg, I thought, I'd never see you again. Say, what are you eating? Towel, medium rare, with a hint of fabric softener. Care for a bite? Don't mind if I do. My door bursts open. No toys in the fish tank, David announces. I'll be right back, I say to Christy between my clenched teeth. No problem, she says, stroking Nutmeg's neck. I close my door behind me so Christy won't see me run. Why? I sprint ahead of David. Why today? Because. A tiny cowboy stands bow-legged on the gravel at the bottom of the fish tank, one hand poised to grab his pistol, the other holding the end of a lasso hovering in a loop above his head. A goldfish swims right through the hole. Get back here, you pesky varmint. Plunging my hand into the water, fish swoosh past my fingers. I rescue the cowboy, throw him into the toy box. Grabbing David's wrist, I don't even wipe my hand first. Wet! David twists to get away. You're not going to ruin this for me. I yank him along behind me down the hallway to Mom's office. She's on the phone. All right then, Mom says into the receiver. I'll look forward to hearing from you next week. I have company, I say, not caring about interrupting her, and you need to watch David. Mom holds up one finger for me to wait, but I push David ahead of me into the room. Her eyebrows come down. She grabs a pencil off her bookshelf and dumps the pieces on the floor. Yes, that'll be fine, she says into the phone. David sits beside the hill of pieces. He can't stand to see puzzles undone, but he insists on doing the pieces in lines, like he's reading the puzzle. He doesn't look for all the red barn pieces, or the daisies in the field, or the glimmers of sunlit water. Left to right, top to bottom, that's his puzzle rule. And if you add a piece out of David's order, he'll take it back out, even if it fits. I slam Mom's office door on my way out. When I come back to my room, breathless from running down the hallway, I notice Nutmeg and Cinnamon are in their cage again. Everything okay? Christy asks. I hope you don't mind that I looked at this. She's holding my sketchbook open to the half-finished portrait of Jason. Is he your boyfriend? No, just a boy I started drawing. Christy tilts her head in an, ooh, really? Look, if you want someone to think something's not important, use just a lot. He's just a boy I know from, well, I don't really know him. Not very well. I just see him at, I checked my watch. It's almost time to leave for OT. I can't tell Christy I have to go. Not the first time we've met. But I told Jason I'd see him today. Christy tosses my sketchbook onto my desk. My hands itch to flip the page, but that'll bring attention to it. Want to watch TV? Christy asks. If I say no, Maybe I won't get another chance to hang out with her. I glanced at Thomas the Tank Engine reflected in my mirror, his eyes closed, braced for a crash that'll never happen. From somewhere, David shrieks. We could watch in my house, Christy says. That stings, even if I agree. Sure, I say. I'll tell my mom. All the way up Christy's walkway, I want to skip or run or twirl with my arms out like a 6-year-old. It feels deliciously easy to be visiting a friend's house without having to say first, sorry, David, this is for me, you can't come. Hearing Mom's car back out of the driveway, I turn to wave. She waves, but David sits alone in the back seat, hunched down, his hands over his ears. I follow Christy up the steps and through her front door. At someone else's house, you have to follow their rules. At a friend's house, everything is uncomplicated. No one drops toys in the fish tank. No one cares if the cellar door is open or closed, and no one shrieks unless there's a huge hairy spider crawling up her arm. And they only have regular family rules. No snacks right before supper. Call if you're going to be late. Homework first. But the best part of being at a friend's house is I can just be just me and put the sister part of me down. Christy's room looks like a page from a catalog, the sort of shiny catalog I get in the mail and can only afford a toothbrush or a poster from. But Christy's new pink swirled curtains match the fat comforter on her bed, which matches the pink and blue rug on her floor. It's all beautiful, but what I envy most is the neat row of things on her bureau. Photographs, makeup, a jewelry tree, and a long row of nail polish bottles. Everything out in the open, not jumbled in drawers like mine, out of David's sight. Lying next to Christy on her new-smelling pink comforter, I wish I wasn't wearing an old sun-faded t-shirt and put on makeup this morning. I think he's cute, Christy says, and I force my gaze back to the teen people spread in front of her. The boy in the magazine has perfect teeth and stabbing dark eyes. Christy taps with a little box that says, Up Close and Personal with Jake. He says his ideal date would be a sunset walk on the beach and a picnic supper she had prepared. He sounds cheap. As soon as I say it, I wish I could stuff the words back into my mouth. But Christy laughs. Yeah, why can't he bring the picnic? If you get invited somewhere, you shouldn't have to bring supper. She flips onto her back. I roll over too. Her ceiling's ordinary, plain white, with a simple square glass light in the middle, and 2 hooks like upside-down question marks, holding nothing. I think Mrs. Bowman hung plants here. Can you date yet, Christy asks. I shrug. I know boys from school and church, but no one I'd want to go somewhere with by myself. Well, not really by myself, because he'd be there too. Oh, shut up, I tell my tongue. You should ask that boy you drew on a date, Christy says. What's his name? I shift my shoulders, pretending I need to stretch so she won't notice I'm squirming. Is there any harm in telling his name? They're not likely to meet. Jason doesn't even go to the same school I do. Jason, my boyfriend and I broke up before I moved, Christy says, but I think Ryan likes me. His mom works at the community center where I volunteer. Did you know the community center is sponsoring a summer dance? It's for kids aged 8 to 17. You could ask Jason. You volunteer? I need to change the subject. Yeah, with the preschool day camp. It sounded fun when I signed up, but they want me to come every day now. And we're going to Dad's every weekend. I haven't even had time to finish unpacking. I glanced to her bureau, to the framed photograph of a man standing with a dog. My friend Melissa's parents are divorced. She's in California for the summer with her dad. My parents aren't divorced. She says it's so sharp, I gasp. I'm sorry, I thought because they're just separated. Christy reaches up to twirl a piece of hair in her fingers. They're just taking a break for a while. It's so quiet. I can hear birds outside and cars driving past on the road. Christy holds the very end of the lock of hair, and it spins back, falling against the path of freckles across her nose. Want to shoot some baskets? She asked, pushing her hair away. I don't know which box my basketball's in, but it's in the garage somewhere. Sure. I can't help checking off a list of differences in each room we pass through. No locks on the doors, no little kid videos next to the TV, no safety plugs in the outlets, and a box of cookies left out in the kitchen, on the kitchen table. No one worried someone will eat them all at once. Christy's garage is full of boxes, bikes, rakes, snowblower, and a clutter of other things. We open boxes until we find her basketball. I hope you're not real good. Christy passes me the ball. I'm only kind of good. Me too, I say, relieved. We play one-on-one until I see Dad pull into our driveway with David. David runs up the walkway to our house, clutching his video. Hi, Dad smiles, coming toward the fence. It's a nice surprise to drive in and see you next door, Kath. First, I've told him not to call me Kath because it sounds too much like he's calling me a baby cow. And second, why it's such a surprise I have a friend next door. You need to get David a new tape player, I set up for a shot. The one he has keeps pulling his cassettes apart, and I have to fix them. The ball bounces off the rim. Can't you say hello first? Dad asks. Hello, but don't forget, I'm sick of fixing his cassettes. I'm Catherine's dad, he nods to Christy. It's nice to have you and your family in the neighborhood. What do your parents... Oh, wow, I check my watch. It's getting late. Yeah, I have to start supper for my mom. Christy shoots the ball. I'll see you? Definitely. I get the ball and pass it to her, loving the hollow thump it makes hitting her hands. I'll be in a minute, Dad calls. I need to get something from the car. I walk home, easy as you please. In the living room, I can barely keep from skipping past Mom, reading the newspaper on the couch. Next to her, Dad shakes his hands with excitement as David shakes his hands with excitement as a video preview plays on the TV. Did you have fun? Mom asked me. The newspaper pages make a whispery sound as she folds them. Christy seems like a nice girl. I nod. David slaps his legs with his hands. Rated PG for adventure, action, and peril. Jason missed you today, Mom says, and my happiness deflates like a balloon with the smallest tear. He said that? Well, actually, what he said was, tell Catherine all gone stinks a big one. Mom looks over the top of her glasses, giving a long, what have you been up to, young lady, stare. Who's Jason? Dad says from the doorway, a teasing smirk on his face. A boy at David's OT place. I watch Dad's eyebrows shoot upward, and I roll my eyes. He's just a boy. It's not like he's a boy or anything. Oh, I almost forgot. Jason sent you something. It's in a bag on the kitchen table. PG-13, David shouts. Parents strongly cautioned. I stroll ho-hum to the kitchen, but I'm curious. On the table, I find a paper bag and reach inside. My fingers touch something tickly, cold. I pull out a big bunch of carrots, the feathery green tops attached. Untangling a carrot from the bunch, I imagine Cinnamon and Nutmeg in their cage, shuffling through the shavings, drinking from the water bottle. I snap the carrot in half. From down the hall comes a crazed burst of squealing, then a shriek. Quiet, pigs! By the time I reach my room, David's standing in my doorway, his hands over his ears. Sorry, I push past him. Go back to your video. They'll stop in a minute. Cinnamon and Nutmeg jostle each other, their front feet high against the side of its cage. Out of my way, fatso. Who are you calling fat hairball? That carrot is mine. I toss carrot bits into the cage, and a shaving flying scuffle breaks out. Finally, settling into happy chortling and chewing sounds, a trickle of guilt curls through me. Why can't the world be simpler, like it is for guinea pigs? They only have a few rules. Crying will get you attention. If it fits in your mouth, it's food. Scream if you don't get your share. But I can make it up to Jason on Tuesday. I already know how. So we'll finish here today, and we've been reading Rules by Cynthia Lord. It was published in 2006 by Scholastic Press. And I am Mary, and I'm coming to you from the children's room at the Portland Public Library. And until next time, bye-bye.